know what went on, and, you know, either first time goers or going there for 16, 17 years like Sean, I think we still should find out what our feelings are, how we liked it, did we hate it, should we go again? And so that's why we have Pam and Nancy. And what I was thinking to just go through what touched you.
The young people, the RILA students, and the presentation from the 4 girls from Bellport, who started a not-for-profit called 4 Girls for Families, who went on vacation and discovered that there was very poor drinking water conditions where they visited. Was it Cambodia?
Cambodia.
Yeah. And as a result of that, have since, in that time, raised $40,000 and brought over 200 to 300 new drinking water filtration systems back on their 4th visit to Cambodia. It made you wonder what you did on your last vacation, whether or not you happened to change the lives of hundreds of people. So the young people were inspiring, they were enthusiastic, it gave you a lot of energy and momentum. And as I've said to this club before, when I had the opportunity to take part in the Friendship Exchange, when Michael and I went to England last November, it's when I truly felt that I was a member of an international organization that was doing good all over the world. And attending the district conference furthered that feeling that we are part of this large organization that can and is doing important work all over the world. And it was wonderful to see the reverence that our former district governors were given. And I think Sayville was very well represented. And
I think
we
so,
should have
too.
gotten some kind of, did we have the largest attendance?
I
of
think
any
so, we had
club?
7 people.
So I'm all about the recognition. I want the one suggestion, they should have actually had an opportunity for photos, for club photos, and then, you know, just to kind of a little more introduction. But walking into your very first breakfast and seeing a flag from every single club throughout the entire district in that ballroom hanging from the ceiling, it's a startling recognition of how big and wide the net is, and that we're all part of that.
And thank goodness I'm also a Paul Harris, where I would only have one little ribbon, where some people have like 10, all different colors, so that's my goal. Well, not president, you know. Okay, so I was most impressed too with the youth. There was the RILA students and the youth exchange students. They brought so much energy to the conference, and they're great dancers. Congo lines, bringing in the flags was very impressive. Seeing our flags around, our banners, that was amazing. I want to pay a little bit of attention to Sean, who he barely got into the conference room sometimes. He's a very busy man with registration, and he knows everything. So I was happy that he was one of ours.
So if you have questions.
What impressed me about the total conference is that it was so organized. You know, it was 11 o'clock and we were supposed to have another speaker. For 99% of the time, that speaker was up at the podium speaking, and that just kind of relaxes you, because you know, like, when it's going to be, and you could just, it just was good to me to have it be so organized. I want to target on just one person, because there's so many speakers, but one man who was just involved with so much through his time with Rotary is Abe Gordon from Bridgeport, Connecticut. And I can't even tell you how many hats he wears, but many, many. And he just gave a talk that was so inspiring. I think, like, oh my gosh, I just do fluff, I just do parties, I just, you know, but that's who I am, and I love doing it. But this man has just given his life, donated it to Rotary. And one of the things he said, the importance of wearing your pin. And so many times he would be traveling and he would be wearing his pin, and he would meet someone from another country with wearing the same pin, and that led to another program in another country that just is going on to this day. And one thing he said, even wear your pin, he even wears his pin on his pajamas, because you never know who you're going to be. Okay. One also was, one evening we went out to dinner, and though Fred Notter and I were able to walk to the restaurant, we really were going to have a hard time walking back. So along came a pedicab, which Fred and I got in together, and it was a cold night, and they put a blanket up to here, and someone seeing all this said, "Oh, what a wonderful romantic couple." And I said yes, and his wife, who's standing right up there, thinks so too. So we had seriousness, a lot of learning, and we had fun. And it was a perfect conference for me. I'm so thankful that I went.
Thank you. And for me, it was the same. It's just going there for the first time, it inspired me. And again, it's exactly what they say. Just the youth there, the enthusiasm, and you want to go there. Everybody wanted to be there, and they were happy to be there. So a lot of excitement to just be part of the conference and see everybody and join in. And we had the morning meetings, and then we went to lunch. So there was a lot of fellowship, and we went to dinner sometimes. We danced, and I danced too. So, so I think that's what I'm coming out of this. We're trying to get excited to come to Rotary, to be here. We have to get everybody excited. We have to get everybody excited to come to the meetings and have fun. And maybe it was interesting for me for a first time going there, and I enjoyed it. And I wish I could go every time. Now, I don't know if that's possible, but again, I want to be excited. I want to go there. So I'm trying to get everybody excited to come to the meetings. So, I think that's the main issue. That's the main feeling that I came out from the district. But we need to be excited about Rotary. We need to be excited and come to the meetings and be happy. And we have to make a lot of programs. We have to try and create something for the younger people to try and bring them in.
I'd like to go into why these conferences are important beyond the public part of it. The presentations from the groups, the energy from the young people. But it also gives us a chance to work out some of the practical details and difficulties of an international organization. Through former District Governor Irving Tolliver, we've worked very closely with the Rotary in Nigeria. And the Rotary in Nigeria is very special because not only because Nigeria has the largest population of any country in Africa, but relatively recently they've become a major petroleum exporter, and it's a source of wealth in that country. They're now a significant number of wealthy Rotarians, and they're looking to use their organization to improve their country. And one of the things they're interested in is developing a gift of life in Nigeria. And the problems involved in doing that are beyond simply identifying a child that needs help and bringing them here, which would seem pretty easy, but isn't, because about 2 months ago, I presented 2 or 3 charts to St. Francis Hospital, and what they did was they sent us their most serious cases, which really can't be handled transcatheter, and generally are not accepted by New York hospitals that want sure thing cases where the chance of losing the child is very, very small. Because of the competitiveness of hospitals in New York and generally in the United States. In the case of Nigeria, what we're going to need to do, and we've been explaining this to the Nigerians, is run a screening mission, which means sending cardiologists to screen potential cases so we know where they can be accommodated, which would be appropriate for St. Francis here on Long Island, which would require open heart surgery, Golson's Medical Center in Tel Aviv that do these for us, or the three Gift of Life International hospitals that have been established around the world and can take children from other places. We have one in Uganda, we have one in El Salvador, we have one in Jamaica. But there are political problems as well. In each country where there's Gift of Life, if we're going to send a training team in to do surgeries in that country, we need facilities. And in a developing country, those facilities are generally controlled by the government. And there's a lot of competition for those facilities, there as it is here. You know, to be able to use 6 ICUs constantly over a 2-week period in a place where there's never enough ICUs, intensive care units. Having local surgeons and technicians and emergency room nurses assigned to your program for 2 weeks. Because in all of these developing countries, there's a long list of public health projects that can advance and extend the lives of children. And to be considered in developing priorities, we can't cause any political problem. Happens that the Minister of Health in Nigeria is a Rotarian. But even though it's the most convenient place for us, if we're sending children to Uganda, that creates a political problem for the Nigerians who consider themselves wealthier and smarter and greater than Ugandans in Uganda. And there are problems, there are religious problems in Nigeria that would make it hard for us to be sending children to Israel. Not with the parents, not with us, but with the Nigerian government. So, you know, among the sorts of things a conference like this works on is reaching out to Chain of Hope, which is a series of like-minded surgical charities that do pediatric cardiology. Chain of Hope is based both in France and in Great Britain. The French Chain of Hope have sent more than half of the missions that we've sponsored to Haiti. We've used French surgeons who speak French, which is similar to Creole and much easier to operate in Haiti. So those are the sorts of problems that we work out at these conferences. Because being an international organization has tremendous value and responsibility and difficulties. So that's what I came away from this conference with.
I've been to about 14 conferences. I learn a little bit of something at every one I go to. But when you go and you listen to 11-year-old to 14-year-old girls talk about their trip to Cambodia and what they saw, and they said to their mother, we have to do something, and they came back and did it, I feel like I do nothing because I just don't know where they get these ideas from. I'm going to be very brief. It was very inspiring, so much so that I'm joining the Friendship Exchange to Nigeria in February. We'll be doing a national immunization day while we're there to immunize children against polio. And I'm scared and excited and nervous, and Sal's petrified that I'm getting on a plane and flying to Nigeria. I'm going with Pam's husband, who is also going on the Friendship Exchange with it. So, but it was just inspiring, and I can't urge you enough. Next year it's in Mystic, Connecticut. The earlier you register, the cheaper it is, so think about registering early. If you register by the end of May of this year, it's only $1,000 for a couple. I think it's $800 for a single. It goes up as it gets later in the year, so think about it. Make the time. Go and hear what we're doing around the world. It opens your eyes to a wealth of things. Thanks.
As you all know, I've been very active with various youth programs throughout the years. I found it very interesting when Judy and I plan to leave next week to visit some of our exchange students in Europe. There's one in Sweden, one in Switzerland, one in Germany, and possibly another one in Germany. Every year, the international the conferences have a person who represents the international president. This year's representative is a member of the Swedish Parliament, who also was very familiar. I said, "Oh, I'm going to be in your country next week." And she said, "Who do you know there?" And I started naming off people who she also knew, all through the youth exchange program, which is very interesting. To lighten it up a little bit, everybody's talking about how the youth were very enlivened and invigorated. Well, one of the reasons for that is they had one of these silent auctions. And in the silent auction was this basket. I couldn't reach around it, truthfully. And it was at least that high, and it was full of popcorn with melted dark chocolate on it. And the kids said, "I wish we could bid on that, but we only have a couple of dollars," because the kids are always poor. So what some good-natured Rotarians did is they bid on it for the kids and gave it to them. Now, as the chaperone for the 30-some-odd kids, or 20-some-odd kids that were there, at 1:30 in the morning, when you have a bunch of sugared-up teenagers, I want to thank the Rotarians who did that. But I slept well on Sunday night when we got home. Great conference.
I'm really proud of this club as a whole, particularly proud of the people who do the work outside of the club. I know there's some of you that can't do that, and I feel badly for you. I wish you had the time so that you could step out and do some of the things that we do on the district level, including the conference, including monthly meetings, including visiting other clubs and so on. One of the real rewards for me is to see what I call newbies, because I watch NCIS, go to the conference and become so enthused as Nancy and Alina Pam, I'm sorry, have done. And it's wonderful. So the only thing that I want to say beyond that is that at every conference, we start talking about the next year's conference. And so the next year's conference is already set. It's going to be April 23rd and 26th, 2015. It's going to be in a place that this club probably doesn't know too much about. It's called the Mystic Marriott Hotel. Some of you may remember about 9 years ago, we had an even larger group go there and supported me at my district conference. So it's at the same hotel. So if you remember that and liked it, please think about coming back. I have some notices and applications. As Sean said, the conference costs a certain amount of money. Because people tend to wait till the last minute, we've reduced the cost of it up front, so that if you can pay sometime before December, you'll have a discounted amount. The real discount comes between now and May, what is it, Sean, May 30th?
May 30th.
But if you can't, then it goes up to where it goes up to $1,400 if you wait till after December 31st. I'll pass it around. I hope to see a lot of you there. Yes.
What's covered in that $1,000? Is that the room and board and the conference? Or just the
The
conference?
registration, Sean, you correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
Go ahead. The
The
registration.
registration includes your room, all your food, except for lunch and dinner on one night.
Right.
It includes the whole conference attendance. The 1,000 is for 2 people. I think it's 800 for a single.
Yeah.
800 initially, again, it's
Initially, and then
discounted.
also goes up.
Right.
I think it tops out at 875.
But basically covers everything except.
Covers
for food.
everything. All you have to do is get yourself
I
there.
just wanted to know.
Except for lunches,
Lunches
Or on your own, and
one
dinner.
night is your own dining.
and this is the same plan next year. Dinner Friday night is on your own. Most people want to do that. They want to go to some of the local restaurants and so on. So yes, everything's covered. Some of the drinks are covered, some are pay as you go. Depends on the cocktail hours.
And the government usually has a hospitality room which takes care of the drinking after.
The drinks in the hospitality room, which is where you get to do all the fun stuff like talk to everybody, the drinks are free. As are the hors d'oeuvres, which were stupendous this year. Okay, any other questions? Thanks very much.